Alrighty, welcome to the Ozzstar Cars channel. Today's fun project, we're going to replace the rear differential gear oil in this 2018 Corvette Grand Sport right here behind me. So if you have a 14 model all the way up to the 2019, of course you're going to have a rear differential in your Corvette, and it's pretty important to change this gear oil out probably sooner than later. I've seen where some of these, couple thousand miles, 2,000 miles, and there's a lot of metal particles in the oil. It becomes contaminated on break-in. It's normal to see that. You don't want to see chunks of metal, of course, but fine metal like metallic flakes, basically. What that's doing in there, that's just kind of wearing the gears down faster than they need to, but it's normal for proper break-in for that to occur. Now, what I want to do in this video is going to show you how to change that gear oil. It's very simple. It's fairly easy if you have the right tools, and you don't need many. But what you want to do is replace that gear oil with this Dexron LS gear oil right here. So this is 75W90, and what you need to notice, it says contains limited slip differential or friction modifier. Okay, so that's very important. This is a 104034 AC Delco right there. This is not to be confused with the differential that is the ELSD. So basically there's like two differentials back there, and that's using automatic transmission fluid. So let me explain real quick, and then we'll get to the actual work here. But the ELSD stands for electronic limited slip differential, and that takes a Dexron 6. Okay, that's a whole different oil. It's 109394 is their part number, AC Delco part number. Now that controls power to the wheels. So basically what we're doing today is the pinion back there, what you would think of as old school, like the spider gears, the ring gear. That's the fluid or the gear oil we're going to change out. This ELSD is completely different. There are clutch packs back there, and the computer senses all kinds of different conditions as far as where the car's turning, the angle of the car, the speed, the braking, all this stuff factors in how it wants to send power to those wheels by locking up those clutches. So like in a turn, you want an open differential, you want the wheels to spin individually so you can get good turning, your turn in. And then when you get on the straights or you're drag racing or whatever, you want both wheels or tires to hook up and send power out evenly, to move forward. Anyhow, I did all that Scotty hand movement there, so I hope you enjoyed that. But anyway, that's basically what it is in a nutshell. So GM differentiates and calls them both differentials, but today we are replacing the gear oil. So let's get down there. I want to show you real quick the simple tools you need to do it. Your number one ammunition that you're going to need basically is a flex head ratchet. Get any brand, whatever works. Make sure it's a flex head, a 3/8, because the plug that we fill and the plug that we drain both have a 3/8 square set hole there to take those out. Anyway, this will help us get in there. I'm going to show you that in just a second. And then to get the drain plug out, all we're going to need is, I take a 6-inch 3/8 and a 3-inch, and we'll be able to sneak right up over that rear housing there, that cross member, and pull that out. So let's get down there and get to it. All right, so I've got the car jacked up, and if you don't know how to jack up your C7 Corvette, maybe check out my video that I did on it. It's pretty popular, how to do it safely. You need some jacking pucks and where to properly place your jack stands, safety stands, okay? So that's real important. Now, if you got a lift, you're really lucky, but if you don't, make sure your car is level when you do this so you get a full drain. But anyway, here's what I want to show you. I've got, right here's the passenger side muffler. You got your driver's side here, passenger side, and let me zoom in. I'm going to point with the screwdriver where the fill plug is. Hopefully we can catch this on film right there, okay? So I'm zooming in. That's that square drive 3/8, and what you'll need is your flex head ratchet to get that off. And then right here is going to be our drain. So here's the drain right here, and you can get a extension right over top of this cross member. So that this axle back here, this is not a big deal. I have my 3/8 swivel head ratchet right here, And what I do is sneak behind the parking brake cable there, behind the sway bar, and then get that right up. Of course, it's going to be hard for me to film it or for you to see it. Then I just get that square drive 3/8 right into there. And what I'll do is I can't hold the camera and show you at the same time, but when the ratchet head is up in here, and if you're having problems with it, flopping, I'll take a screwdriver from this point with my other hand and just kind of push on the back of the ratchet head to shove that drive, square drive into the plug. And then once it's in there, it engages, and then just go ahead and zip it right out. No biggie there. Now for this drain plug right here, let me show you that right there. All I do is take a 6-inch, and it'll sit right on top, right over top of this cross member. Just get that in there like that. Okay, so that's in right there. And then put another 3-inch extension on the end back here, and then you can just take your ratchet out from this area. I don't know if you can see with the light, but you're out here now underneath this muffler, and you can easily reach your fingers. I'm sure the camera's shaky as anything, but then you can just reach your fingers back up once this is loose, right in here on the other side of this cross member, and just go ahead and zip that right out and let it drain. I have my drain pan down here ready to go. I'm not going to film this part because you know how oil drains. It's not that exciting. Anyway, let me get to that. Now, I will tell you, when I go to put this plug back here, okay, the deal is to take a 3-inch with the swivel, and what I do is I'll sneak it up here like this. Hopefully we can get this on film. The swivel will allow me to get in, probably couldn't see what I was doing, get in right in there, and then get that back in, because that plug is kind of tight. You got to take 2 fingers right here and just do the cul-de-sac technique right there and just spin that in. Going all out on the Ozzstar Cars channel, I wanted to show you. So I got the swivel is into the plug here, and here's the 3-inch extension, which actually goes to the back of the muffler, but it'll give you some leverage if you need to thread this back in. If you can't get your 2 fingers here, kind of spinning it, it's not that easy to do that way. So this will give you, you can take your other hand and spin this while you stabilize the plug here and get it started. That's probably the biggest trick, and I'm going to pull that out right now so you can see. That's how that goes, okay? Let's take a look at our old fluid. Now this has 8,600 miles on it, so if we move this around, hopefully you can kind of see that metallic kind of look going there. So that's what we want to get rid of. No big chunks of metal, but there is very fine metal particles in there, and that's why we want to change out this fluid sooner than later and just help things last longer and work better. While we're not under the car, let me show you how we're going to fill up that differential. So I've got one of these little hand pumps. They're inexpensive. You can get these online for like 10-15 bucks. And basically this is just going to take off your cap. We're going to screw that on there, and then we're going to pump this like this, because you probably won't be able to see what I'm doing while the fluid gets pushed up and in. Now I've got a straw extended on the hose right here, so I put that in the fill hole, and it should take about 3 to 3.5 quarts, I would say. Now keep in mind, if your Corvette's early, like a 14, I don't know about the 15s, but there was a TSB, that's a technical service bulletin on these cars, that the fluid was actually filled low from the factory, and it caused some damage to some of these rear ends. They were like 1.5 quarts low. I think that's GM, if you look up, Google GM TSB 13384, that should give you that information. But anyway, it's fairly simple to top off, and I do suggest you check it out. Here's the drain plug, and I just want to show you, all the slime that's on there. That's all real fine metal particles. So we'll clean this up real good. I'll get some brake clean, and we'll put this back in. So I gloved up for this one. Let me show you what we're seeing floating around in that oil down there. So basically it's this metallic. So just very fine ground up metal flakes. It's nothing to be nervous about. So let me get some brake clean, spray that off a little bit, and that's all you got to do. And this is the fill plug, so I'm going to of course fill up the diff now. I'm going to go down there. I'm not going to bore you with pumping, you know, 3.5 quarts in there, but I will show you just the setup I have, and then I'll pop this in, torque it down, and we'll wrap up the video. Okay, so you can kind of see where the fill hose is going in right there. And let me show you my setup as promised right back here. Try not to get the camera too shaky for you. And basically, get my light. Here's our setup. So that's going right into there. We'll just pump this down like this, and we'll be all set. So like I say, after I pump this in, I get 3.5. It'll start to kind of drool out of there. I'll have my drain pan down here on the floor. And as soon as that just starts to trickle out, get the plug, put it in there, tighten it down, we're all set to go. All right, we're all set. I got all 3 quarts of this in. It was exactly 3 quarts. Just started to seep out of that fill hole. Once you start seeing it dribble and your car is level, you know you got the right amount. Now, if you have the back of the car jacked up and the front isn't, you know, you're doing this on the ground, then you're going to want to bring it down and let it level to make sure that it's just spilling out so that you do have the right amount. Now, I measured the amount of fluid that came out from the factory, and it was about 2.25 quarts. So it was a little bit low. It calls for 3.5. So I'm glad that's topped off. Now, one little trick was, it was easy, fairly easy, to get that fill plug out with the swivel head ratchet. Putting it back in is extra fun. So it probably took me longer to do that than the whole rest of the job. So my trick was taking a 3-inch extension right here with a 3/8 swivel. So this has electrical tape wrapped around it so it doesn't just flop all over the place. I was able to fish that up in there while I held the plug and got it started. It was slow going, but once I got it started, I put my swivel head ratchet in there, snugged it up, and good to go. So that's about it. Now, the factory service manual says you should drive it for 10 minutes just to get the fluid pumping through to get the exact level, or the correct level. I've known other guys that have done this job, and they say it's really not necessary unless you drain the entire system. So maybe you don't have fluid through those cooler lines and stuff like that. You would need to top it off. So anyway, just the drain and fill. 3 was good for me. And that one about wraps it up. So take your time with this. If you're doing it yourself, you could save yourself a lot of money. This stuff, by the way, is expensive. If I didn't mention it already, I believe this was like 20 to 30 bucks a quart. So you're going to need at least 3. I bought 4 just in case. I can send one back. So I'll leave a link to this stuff down below. And other than that, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below. Take it easy.